poor sleep itself won't end your life. But what you do within the first 30 seconds after waking up just might. There's a specific morning habit that most Americans over 60 perform every day without even thinking twice. And according to new research, it could increase the risk of a fatal cardiac event by as much as 40%. This isn't about smoking or eating unhealthy foods. It's something you do even before your feet hit the floor. What's even more concerning? Your doctor has likely never mentioned it. Stay with me until the end because the number one protective habit I'll share today is so simple and completely free that a major study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found it reduced early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in adults over 60. Yet almost no one does it, or does it correctly. I'm Dr. Lina Laurent. For over 20 years, I've watched hearts fail, and I've spent just as long observing the same preventable morning sequence repeat itself in patients who felt perfectly fine the night before. Today, that changes for you. Before I reveal the habit, you need to understand what's happening inside your body the moment you begin to wake up. Without this context, the danger won't make sense. While you sleep, your body operates in a kind of low power mode. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your nervous system quiets. It's the only true rest your heart gets in a 24-hour cycle. But here's what most people don't realize. The moment your brain starts waking up, even before your eyes open, even before your alarm sounds, your body begins flooding your bloodstream with two stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. They start rising roughly 60 minutes before you're fully conscious. By the time you reach for your alarm, they're already surging. These two hormones do three things to your heart almost simultaneously. Your heart rate jumps, your blood pressure rises, and your blood vessels constrict, all within seconds. At 35, your cardiovascular system handled that surge effortlessly. Your vessel walls were elastic, and your body adapted instantly. But after 60, the picture changes dramatically. The arteries stiffen, the response slows, and in many people, even those who feel completely healthy, plaque has silently built up inside those vessels. Plaque they don't even know is there. When that hormonal wave hits a vessel wall carrying vulnerable plaque, the force can crack it. A cracked plaque triggers clotting. A clot in a coronary artery is a heart attack. A clot in a cerebral artery is a stroke. This isn't a worst-case scenario. It's the mechanism. It's what I've seen on the operating table more times than I can count. This is why studies in the American Heart Journal show that heart attacks are 40% more likely to occur between 6 and 10 in the morning than at any other time of day. It's not random, it's biology. And what you do in the 25 seconds after your alarm goes off either helps your heart manage that surge or pushes it over the edge. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Douglas. Douglas was 68, a retired school principal, and a careful man. He took his blood pressure medication every morning without fail, walked 30 minutes 5 days a week, and had his annual checkup like clockwork. His last cardiogram was clean. His doctor told him he was in good shape for his age. One Tuesday morning, Douglas woke up, silenced his alarm, and did what he'd done every single morning for 15 years. He sat up fast, swung his legs off the bed, and stood up immediately. He took 3 steps toward the bathroom, and that's as far as he got. His wife found him on the floor. When I reviewed Douglas's case later, everything about his cardiovascular profile suggested he was managing his health responsibly. His medications were correct, his diet was reasonable, and his fitness was above average for his age. But no one had ever told him about those critical 25 seconds. We'll come back to Douglas because what his recovery room conversation revealed, the one change his cardiologist had never mentioned, is the reason I'm making this video today. Here's the habit. The one specific thing most people over 60 do every morning that silently loads the gun. They stand up immediately. That's it. The alarm goes off and they're vertical in under 3 seconds. It feels like nothing. It's completely ordinary. And for your heart at that precise moment in the morning, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do. Here's the science. When you're lying flat, your blood is distributed relatively evenly throughout your body. The moment you stand, gravity pulls a significant volume of blood downward toward your legs and abdomen. Your heart must respond instantly to maintain adequate blood pressure to the brain. In a younger person, that reflex is fast and precise. The vessels constrict, The heart rate adjusts, and pressure is maintained within seconds. In adults over 60, that reflex slows down. The vessels don't respond as quickly, and blood pressure can drop 15, 20, sometimes even 30 points within seconds of standing. Doctors call this orthostatic hypotension. You may recognize it as that gray, dizzy, foggy feeling when you first stand up in the morning. Many people over 60 experience it and assume it's normal. It's not normal, it's a warning. And here's where it connects directly to the morning hormonal surge we just discussed. When blood pressure drops suddenly after standing, the heart compensates by spiking its rate and output aggressively to restore circulation. In a vulnerable heart already under hormonal stress from the morning cortisol surge, already working against stiffer arteries and thicker blood, that compensatory spike can trigger an arrhythmia. It can crack a plaque. In the worst cases, it can send someone to my operating table. Standing up in under 3 seconds is the 25-second mistake, and it costs nothing to fix. There's a second reason the morning is uniquely dangerous, and this one surprises almost every patient I tell it to. After 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you're dehydrated. Every single morning, without exception, you haven't had a drop of water all night. You've been breathing steadily for hours, losing moisture continuously. By the time your alarm goes off, your blood is measurably thicker and more viscous than it was when you fell asleep. Think of your heart as a pump and your blood vessels as pipes. When the fluid moving through those pipes is thin and free-flowing, the pump works easily. When the fluid thickens, the pump has to work harder with every single beat. And thicker blood doesn't just increase the workload, it clots more easily. Research confirms that clotting factors are at their highest activity levels in the early morning hours. This is one of the primary reasons strokes and heart attacks cluster so heavily in that 6 to 10 a.m. window. It's the hormonal surge combined with thick blood and stiff vessels, all arriving at the same moment, a triple threat for any heart over 60. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. A glass of water, room temperature before anything else, before your coffee, before your medication, before you check your phone. One glass of water taken before your feet touch the floor begins thinning the blood, reducing clotting risk, and giving your cardiovascular system something to work with before the full demands of the day begin. This is the protective habit I mentioned at the start of this video, the one that JAMA research found reduced early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in adults over 60. One glass of water, taken lying down or sitting before standing. That's it, and almost no one does it consistently. Quick question before we go further. Do you drink water first thing in the morning before coffee, before anything else? Write yes or no in the comments right now. I read every single one, and the pattern I see in those answers tells me a great deal about what information is actually reaching the people who need it most. Now, let me give you the complete morning protocol, because once you understand the danger, the solution is straightforward. I call it the 90-second heart protocol. No equipment, no cost, nothing to buy. Just a sequence that takes 90 seconds and protects your heart every single morning. Step 1. The moment your alarm goes off, don't move. Stay exactly where you are. Take 3 slow, deep breaths before you do anything else. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, fully and deliberately. This single action activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the calming branch, and begins to counteract the cortisol surge before it peaks. 3 breaths, 15 seconds. One of the most powerful cardiovascular protective tools that exists, and it's completely free. Research on slow, deliberate breathing immediately upon waking shows measurable reductions in morning blood pressure, spikes in adults over 60. Step 2. Drink the water before you stand. Keep a full glass of water on your nightstand tonight. Before your feet touch the floor, drink it, room temperature, the whole glass. This is non-negotiable. You now understand why. Thin the blood, reduce the clotting risk, and give the pump better fluid to work with before the day begins. Step 3. Sit before you stand. Roll to your side, push yourself up slowly, and sit on the edge of the bed with your feet hanging. Don't rush. Rotate your ankles in slow circles 5 times in each direction. This activates the muscle pump in your calves, which pushes pooled blood back up toward the heart and helps restore blood pressure gradually. Sit for a full 30 seconds before you stand. Then rise slowly, pressing through your legs, and stand still for 10 seconds before you take your first step. That's the complete protocol: 3 breaths, 1 glass of water, sit before you stand. 90 seconds total, starting tomorrow morning. If you're currently taking a diuretic, a water pill for blood pressure, there's one additional thing you need to know. Diuretics work by flushing excess fluid from the body through the kidneys. They're effective and widely prescribed, but when the kidneys flush fluid, they also flush magnesium, and magnesium regulates the electrical signals that control your heartbeat. When magnesium levels drop quietly, which happens in a significant number of people on long-term diuretics, the heart becomes electrically unstable. Palpitations, erratic rhythms, and arrhythmias tend to surface hardest in the morning, precisely when the heart is already under the greatest stress. If you're on a diuretic, ask your doctor at your next appointment to check your magnesium level, a 2-minute blood test. That information could be genuinely important for your heart. I promised I'd come back to Douglas. After he stabilized, I sat with him and his wife and we talked about his morning. He described it exactly as I expected: alarm, immediate movement, straight to vertical, straight to the bathroom, every morning for 15 years. Nobody had ever questioned it. His previous cardiologist had reviewed his medications, his diet, his exercise. Nobody had ever asked about the 25 seconds. We made one change before he went home: a glass of water on the nightstand, the 3-breath rule, and sitting on the edge of the bed before standing. 6 months later, he came back for his follow-up. His morning blood pressure readings, which his wife had been tracking at home, had stabilized significantly. The dizziness he'd always dismissed as normal was gone. His cardiologist had noted the improvement and asked what had changed. Douglas told him, "I stopped standing up fast." He asked me in the corridor, "Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner?" I didn't have a satisfying answer, but I told him what I'll tell you now. The information exists, the research exists, and the habit itself costs nothing and takes 90 seconds. It simply needs to reach the people who need it before the morning it matters most. You are that person, and you now have it. Let's bring this all together. The morning is the most dangerous window of the day for your heart after 60. Cortisol and adrenaline surge before you're fully awake, driving up heart rate, blood pressure, and vessel constriction simultaneously. Your blood is at its thickest, your arteries at their stiffest, and the habit of standing up immediately, something 90% of people do without thinking, adds a sudden pressure drop that forces an already stressed heart to compensate aggressively. The fix is 3 steps: 3 breaths before you move, 1 glass of water before you stand, and sit on the edge of the bed for 30 seconds before rising slowly. That's your 90-second heart protocol, starting tomorrow morning. Here's what I'm asking you to do today. Put a glass of water on your nightstand tonight. Just that one thing, the rest will follow. Which part of this surprised you most? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone. And if this gave you something you needed, share it. There's someone in your life who wakes up every morning doing exactly what Douglas did. You may not know who it is yet, but this video might be the thing that finds them before the morning it matters. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Every week, I bring you honest, research-grounded information about what your body needs after 60, the information I wish every patient had before they ever ended up in front of me. Take care of your heart. It's been working for you every single minute of every single day without asking for anything in return. Give it 90 good seconds tomorrow morning. It's more than a fair trade. Disclaimer: everything shared in this video is general medical information based on published research and clinical experience. It is not a substitute for your personal medical care. Before making any changes to your medications, exercise habits, or morning routine, please speak with your own physician first. They know your history. Bring this information to that conversation. That's exactly where good medicine begins.